I want to talk to you about my friend Charlie Crawford. He's a 10-time NFR qualifier.
Charlie Crawford, time to just shake it out and win. Got it on him fast, set
there
up.
We are.
Here's a day
nice
money
run.
lead. You betcha 3-8.
That's an absolute perfect run. Timing was perfect from the time the first swing is up. He's got the control. Charlie made it happen by being timed up with his horse with the steer, and being able to not just rope, but to pick that steer's head up without changing the momentum for the heeler at all.
We know his beautiful wife, Jackie, all three of their beautiful children, the founder of the Liberty and Loyalty Foundation, which this year will exceed $1 million raised for military and first responders. I've said it 1,000 times. Charlie, it's time to rope, nod and ride, whip and spur. I want to welcome you to the Charlie Crawford Podcast. Let's ride.
Ropers versus trainers. That's a tough line to balance. I've always said that your ropers never train and your trainers never rope. You know, I've seen a lot of ropers to where, man, it's just always constantly working on trying to hurry up and get that rope on the steer's horns and trying to get that steer caught and hurry up and handle them. And I've seen so many open ropings and sometimes 15 ropings and some of them ropings to where, like, those horses are just blown up. You know, never any release, never any, you know, just chomping the bit and mad and, you know, just almost past the point of burnout, you can tell, just because guys are just trying to get reps. And that's when they get so much, that's where I see so many ropers getting in the, you know, fights with their horses. And one of the best sayings that I've ever heard is, I think Ian Francis said it best, was where our anger begins is where knowledge ends. And that's where it seems like so many ropers that are just trying to win have no idea how those horses are, you know, work and how they're operated and how their psychology is. But then you'll see a lot of trainers too that, like, they've trained so much that they almost can't get out of their own way to compete because they're so worried about how their horse works and they're not really focused enough on the roping side of it. It's a tough line to balance. It is. It's one of those things where I really hand it to J.D. Yates because when I was growing up, he was one of the few guys that could train those horses and show those horses and still make the NFR on both ends. Which heeling might be a little bit easier, but heading is very hard, and he was handy enough to do both. It was very, very impressive what he could do. But your ropers, you know, those guys they're trying to get that rope on the steer's horns. They're trying to get the timing of when to, you know, get that first swing up to where they're throwing 3 coils to 2 coils and being able to handle that. Takes a lot of reps. So it takes a lot of horses. A lot of those guys that are good enough, a lot of them have a good enough practice horses where they can get the reps in. You know, and it takes a long time to kind of learn that you can't do that on your good horses. So amount of horses that a lot of times you'll blow up and ruin, to where the guys that last out there as ropers, they kind of know how to toe the balance to where they learn how to maintain those good ones and then use those other ones to work on themselves. And that takes a lot of reps to get that good. Those are some of the best jockeys there is out there, like that Cody Snow and Caleb Driggers, Clay Smith. Those guys can ride anything. It is so fun to watch how good they can still rope and still ride a good horse or even just a subpar horse, just because of their riding ability and the amount of reps that they've had just to get ready to win. And then your trainers, man, a lot of the trainers I've seen are just amazing artists, you know, on how good their patience, on how good they can help those horses learn how to be able to put that puzzle together so that they score good and they can run up there and rate and still use their feet fast and understand what they're doing. In my opinion, the guys that do really good, you can just see it in the horse. You can see how confident they are when they work. You know, some of the ones that overtrain a little bit, those are the ones that I kind of see the horses where they're almost more worried about the rider than what their job is. And that's usually when the horses can't perform as well. But you get the good ones that, man, when you get on them suckers are so confident in what they're doing. That is so fun to watch. But just the psychology that a lot of these good trainers have and knowing how to move the feet and the ribs and the face and just all the stuff right there to set up the run, that they just have the feel for it because they've rode so many. Just the knowledge behind a lot of those trainers' hats is just amazing. You know, I got to go ride with Miles Baker and, you know, got to go to a fraternity a couple weeks ago and watch Tate Kirkenslager and how good he is with those 4-year-olds and some of the head horses he has. Joseph Harrison on the head side has gotten amazing with that Air Force One. And Ren Richard now is doing a great job with him. Andy Holcomb, just amazing trainers. But I always think, too, as if like a guy could watch, if you're a 7, 8, or 9 header, you know, or a 10 heeler and you're up there, you know, that Cowboy Channel is something you're going to be watching. You're trying to study those assassins, those killers, you know, they just know how to get that rope on the horns and handle that steer and just so dirty fast. That's what you're trying to study. But, if you're roping in the 13s down, those rope horse futurities are amazing to watch because they're running up there in position the same place you're roping, but they are riding their horses to perfection. And so you've got a really good blueprint if you're trying to study on how to bring your first swing up, how to get to where you can rope in position, how you can handle those cattle and face on a tight rope. Kind of know where you're at in your roping to where you know what you want to study, because those are some great ways to get sharp and get yourself in the pay window.